Okay guys, in this video we're going to look at how we can model, say, a real-life application or real-life situation that involves parabolas using an equation. And so what we're going to be looking at here is a light bulb, or at least a flashlight. Often you'll find that in flashlights you will have some parabolic surface on the end of it, and the light, they like to put it at the focal point just because anything that emanates out from here, recall, would have to bounce out parallel to the axis, like no matter where it hits on the parabola. So pretty cool fact. But I suppose the idea is we could model this using an equation. And so looking at the situation here, it says the light bulb in a flashlight is at the focus of a parabolic reflector 1.5 centimeters from the vertex of the reflector. It asks us to write an equation for the cross-section of the flashlight's reflector with its focus on the positive x-axis and its vertex at the origin. So we want to say that our focus needs to be located on the positive x-axis and the vertex at the origin. I suppose that you can see that they've already drawn this in here to model the flashlight, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to redraw it. Knowing that the vertex is at the origin, I'm going to label this 0, 0, but I'm also going to say that it opens to the right, and that along the axis here of the parabola, our focal point lies on our axis, 1.5 centimeters to the right. And so if that's the case, then this would be like 1.5 comma 0. But I suppose the idea is, the neat thing about knowing this distance is we know the p value. And so p being the distance from the vertex to the focus, we know that p is 1.5. So with respect to modeling this with an equation, we have the values of h and k, and we have the value of p. That means that we can write the standard form of the equation of this parabola here. The last thing we're going to need to really kind of determine is which orientation we should have here. And so because this opens sideways, as we like to have the focal point on the positive x-axis here, we're going to have a y-term that's squared. So looking at the standard form of a parabola that opens sideways, we have y minus k squared equals 4p x minus h to the first. So with this right here, we're going to go ahead and substitute in our values of k and h and p and write our equation here. And so what we end up with is y minus k, which in this case is 0 squared, equals 4 times p, which in this case is 1.5, times x minus h, which in this case is 0. And so simplifying this a little bit here, what we end up with is really just y squared. 4 times a half is 6, so we get y squared equals 6x here would be the equation of this parabola that would model our flashlight here. Cheers.